Should you service your own dive gear? We're gonna service this Golem Gear DSV and we're gonna talk about diving in the channel. Yay! Hello everybody. So I keep getting asked to come out with videos faster. Well, I'd love to, but the videos that I make, especially review videos, are pretty involved. They do take a while. Maybe some people are faster at it than me, but yeah, I don't know if I can do those faster. So I thought maybe I'll make a different type of video. So we're gonna give this a shot. Hopefully somebody watches it. You're watching it, and I love you for that. Cool. But I've got some gear to service. I am going to do some Rebreather stuff next month, so I'm getting my stuff up to snuff. So we're gonna service this DSV, and I'm actually rebuilding like my whole loop. We're getting new loop hoses. We're servicing all the connectors and stuff like that. So I'm not gonna do all that today because it'll take too long. But we're gonna tear this bad boy apart and we're gonna see what it needs. Hopefully just a quick wipe down, or worst case scenario, I gotta go give it a bath and some Dawn dish soap, or perhaps some vinegar if it's really that bad. But otherwise, I'm just gonna be replacing the O-rings and re-greasing them with Crystalube, Tribalube, whatever oxygen-safe lubricant you like. So what do we need for this? In case you're wondering about servicing your own stuff, well, you definitely need some kind of oxygen-safe lubricant. I use this Tribalube stuff. It's kind of hard to get this stuff shipped to Hawaii, but where I get this, they will ship it to Hawaii. There's two different types. This one is the one that they recommend, of Tribalube at least, that they recommend for closed circuit diving because it tends to stick to the O-rings a little better, and you're constantly disassembling and reassembling Rebreather stuff, so that would be desirable. To be totally honest, I don't really notice that much of a difference, but I'm gonna keep buying that kind because they're both the same price and I don't have a reason. You need some oxygen-safe lubricant, you need some Allen keys. I highly recommend getting a set of these T-handle Allen keys. I like these a lot. And they're great so that you can lose them and not have the size that you want, and then you gotta resort to using these little guys again. We need an O-ring kit. So I've got the official Subgravity Golem Gear DSV IQ Sub DSV service kit. So we're using the authentic O-rings, nothing but the best for your boy. You also need an entire wall of scuba shit that I'll put a picture up. Look at all this. I mean, yeah, you guys see that all the time. You don't need a picture. You know what it looks like. It's a bunch of crap. You need it all of it. Go buy it right now. Just kidding. I'm gonna take our mouthpiece off. By the way, these little Amazon side cutters, they're like $4, or at least they were when I started buying them. I don't know how much they are now. So cheap, so worth it. Makes such a clean cut. You can get so close to the zip tie. There's like nothing sticking out to cut you. It's great. Let's save this mouthpiece. I don't think I'm gonna use this mouthpiece again on account of I found a little tiny hole in it. So I need to decide what kind of mouthpiece I want to put on there. Get out of here, we don't need you. I don't know what size this is. I'm gonna guess it's a 3, because I'm missing my 3. You know what, I can tell you. It's a 3 millimeter. They wanna get technical. Well, yeah, that's a 3, all right, baby. Oh my God, if you don't have like a digital caliper, I have a beautiful set of calipers that my dad got me, and they're awesome. They're so accurate. They're fantastic. But if you need something for just quick measurements on your like workbench or whatever, like confirming the size of a bolt or something like that, that's great. This is like a Husky Home Depot brand, and it works fine. So whoever installed these last didn't do it too tight, which is always nice. Don't over tighten scuba shit. It's not good for it. It doesn't need it. Trust me, it's going to get crusted up with salt anyway. It's not going to go anywhere until you make it. So you make sure it's tight, but I always tell people, just snug it. Don't grab it with your ape hands, you know what I mean? And this is obviously not a tutorial. It's more like how I approach servicing things. I've been a service technician for a long time. Started in 2011 at the dive shop I worked at in Texas. And I serviced a lot of regs there, dude. Make sure I'm not doing something wrong. Ooh, this thing's on there good. There we go. I love the Gollum DSV. The design is so freaking cool. And it's going to take me a minute to remember how to take all this stuff apart. So I may have to edit this, but bear with me. If this was like an Aqualung Core or an Aqualung Legend or Scuba Pro or something like that, or an Apex, then I could do it in my sleep. But this is a Gollum DSV. I don't service these all the time. This is my second time servicing this thing. So might take me a second to remember everything. This is something that there's a little O-ring, good to remember. I like to lay out my stuff. You know, keep it separated. Those are not the same, so make sure you keep those screws separated. And this O-ring was with that screw, so I'm gonna make sure that it returns to that screw, or at least a new O-ring does. You have to push these out. With my old rebreather, you could just put the BOV in your mouth and blow on it, and one of them would pop out. That was kind of cool. Okay, and then there's, it's gonna be really hard to see. That thing's dirty. Oh, yeah, you can see it. So there's a plastic split ring in there, and that is what we need to get at to take this thing further apart. So, one thing to know when you're servicing stuff, there's all different types of O-ring picks. One second, let me grab one. And an O-ring pick is something that you definitely need to service gear. These brass ones are nice. Okay, come on, just focus. All right, there we go. These brass ones are nice, but you have to be careful with them around plastic. And also, a lot of people will use these stainless steel dental picks, which I love, don't get me wrong. Those things are amazing and good for purpose, but you have to be extremely careful with them because you can scratch up a sealing surface and then that part is basically done. So, careful. So basically, when I go to catch this split ring, or this circ clip, rather, I don't know what I've been calling it so far, circ clip. When I go to get this circ clip out of here, I don't want to be digging around in here with this if I can avoid it. You know, you can do it, but you got to be careful. This isn't actually a sealing surface, so it's not too bad. But I've got this little guy. This is another O-ring pick, but it's a plastic one, so I'm going to give that a shot first. And I'm just, oh yeah, this is going to be just fine. And I'll just put my finger in there, and then I'll pop this other one up. Oh, so easy. Let me see if I can get closer for the next one, in case you guys want to see how it's done. Where is it? All right. So, I don't know if you can see that. I'm just pulling it out and up. I'm going to stick my finger under it so it can't go right back where it wants to go. Because once you get the second one out, it'll come out. So then I can just slide this out. Oh, nice. And once that is done, you can pop this boy out. Easy to tell which way that goes. Also easy to tell which way that goes. Not worried about Not remembering that. And we are mostly disassembled. I want to take these buttons out. You probably don't need, these buttons are just to kind of capture, they're to catch the connector here. That's all they're for, but I want to make, and you know, water isn't really involved, but I want to make sure that this is super clean in there and that the springs look good, because I don't want that spring disintegrating in there and losing tension, and next thing you know, this thing comes loose and boom! I'm having a very bad day if that happens. Speaking of floods and very bad days, I need to pick out a new mouthpiece for this. Like I said, the other one I had a little hole in it. I'm having really bad luck with mouthpieces. But I really like these mouthpieces, or liked rather, from Dive Gear Express. I'm a big fan of the Comfobite. This is a little bit more, it's kind of like an off-brand version of the Apex, but I like it. The only thing I don't like is that when I was doing my positive negative check on my Sidewinder the other day, I noticed this, the thing had just split. So that's not good. If this had happened underwater while the loop was in my mouth, it very easily could have ended up as a caustic for me. These come from Dive Gear Express. I think I'm going to send them an email, because this could be a fluke. Could just be a one-off thing, but if they're having trouble with a certain batch of these mouthpieces, I want to make sure they've got the info. Like, I'll probably still use these mouthpieces in the future, but I might be a little bit more careful to make sure that I'm not overstretching them. Although these they don't look very far off in size, but I'm sure an engineer would tell me that that's completely the wrong mouthpiece for what I'm trying to do. But anyway, be real careful with tiny set screws like this. Don't want to cross thread, something like that. I'm actually gonna try and finish this by hand, just to be sure that I'm not screwing anything up. Oh, and the button's gonna shoot out. Want to make sure we compress the button. This is why this is definitely not an instructional thing, because I'm not working as a repair tech now. So I'm basically just like a dude servicing his own gear that used to know how to do it. All right, I'm using a brass pick in here, but I'm gonna be, because it's got a hook, but I'm gonna be very careful. Oh yeah, nice and careful. All right, let's see how this spring looks. And I wouldn't call that a problem yet, but it's definitely gunked up. Yeah, I was thinking I was just gonna have to do soap and water, but I'm definitely gonna have to pause the video and go run this through the ultrasonic. The spring is actually really taut, so this thing could have got out when the screw was almost out and potentially boogered some stuff up. When you've got threads in Delrin, it's just not super ideal. Like, you can definitely do it. It's like, in this implementation, it's pretty good. It's fine. But just thread metal into plastic, it's just not a great idea. Doesn't always work out great. Like, the Sidewinder has a couple of ports like that. Not a huge fan. But, is what it is. You want to put inserts and stuff like that in there, that increases the price on this thing. It starts to get astronomically expensive, right? Okay. So we're going to pause, and we're going to go scrub-a-dub this stuff, and then we're going to come back and finish putting it together. Actually, one more thing. I wanted to talk about removing O-rings, since I'm about to go remove a bunch of O-rings, but I was saying earlier that you wouldn't want to take, you know, a brass pick and go and start digging around in here, right? Because it's going to scratch it up. This is a sealing surface. It needs to seal. So what we do, it's really easy if you have something circular. This is called the pinch technique. So I'm just going to slide my two fingers here up to this point to where they touch. And you'll see it removes the O-ring pretty effectively. And then you can get a hook in there, a dental pick, a plastic pick or something like that, or you can just grab it with your fingers if possible. And that's the safest way to remove an O-ring. If you have something that really won't work on, well, first you want to try. So there's an O-ring in here and it's pretty captured, but that's not going to work. So maybe somebody who's more adept could do it, but I'm going to take this plastic pick and try to get under there, and wouldn't you know it, I think I'm going to be able to do it. Yeah. So plastic on plastic, not that scary. Brass on plastic, very scary. So we've got that O-ring out. Let's see if we can't do one more. Let's see, these are pretty easy. Sometimes you don't get it, especially if they're greasy. Sometimes you don't get very much, but got a little bit, and I'm just gonna take my brass pick because it's got a little hook, and carefully, I'm applying 0 pressure. Just kind of moving it around, and I'm just gonna drag that bad boy off of there. And I didn't scratch anything up. At least I don't believe I scratched anything up. Okay, so now I'm gonna go get this stuff washed up and we'll put it back together. And through the magic of movie magic, we're back. And we are clean as a whistle. Just expecting, now that I've said it's clean as a whistle, I'm expecting to find a spot that I missed. Because that's my life. That's my life. All right. All right. We need fresh O-rings. So we want to move. When we're servicing, get the old ones out of here. Get them out of here. Get them away. Put them somewhere else. You know what? We're gonna do this. We're actually gonna put them in a bin. These bins are lifesavers. You want these when you're servicing stuff, because if something happens, like all of a sudden you gotta go pick your kid up or something like that, it's really nice to be able to just take all this stuff and put it in one bin. This wouldn't quite fit in there with the lid on. But anyway, just being able to put everything away is invaluable, because getting to something the next day and being like, I don't remember what I was doing, is not a good feeling, especially if you're doing it professionally. You don't want that. All right, so we've got our, ooh, look at how shiny and clean. We've got our mushroom valves that are kind of stuck together. Please don't be messed up. Ooh, gentle, gentle. Okay, we're good. So before I really get cracking back into this, I just wanted to make sure that I check off a box, because I wanted to talk about, you know, why I'm gearing up Rebreather wise, kind of give a channel update, trying to make faster videos. That's one thing. I would like to get back to the days when I used to put out a video a week. That was crazy. It was crazy. Now I'm closer to a video a month, if that. But I was also doing some reaction videos, which don't really feel right to me. That feels like Dive Talks territory. I don't really want to do it. I want to do different stuff. They're so easy, so it would be nice to do reactions again. But if I do reactions, it's probably going to be from a comedic standpoint. And I'll probably have Boomer. Some of you guys probably don't know Boomer T. Diver, the other host on Dive Vibe. I might have Boomer do it just because he's a lot funnier than I am. So, you know, let me know what you think about that. Would you like to see reaction videos? I'm definitely not going to do what Dive Talk does, like Gus and Woody. First of all, like Gus and I talk sometimes. He's going to be like, what the hell, man? He's going to message me. Were you doing exactly what we do? But anyway, I don't want to do that. So we're going to try this. We're going to try doing some more casual videos where we just talk about different subjects, something I can get edited faster, because the editing and the shooting always takes so long. Anyway, drum roll. In November, I'm heading down to ProTech in Mexico to get signed off for teaching the Sidewinder for when we upgrade to the Sidewinder 2, which is coming. So I will likely have a lot of really cool information, some of which I probably can't share, but a lot of which I'm assuming I can share. I guess I'll find out when I get there. But I'm really excited to bring you guys along, take some video. It's a lot of gear to take. A dry suit, rebreather, all that stuff to Mexico. It's a lot of stuff. So my camera stuff is gonna be really pared down. I'm probably just gonna bring the tiny camera. We'll see. But anyway, we'll do something cool. So let's get back started on this. I just wanna let you guys know that that's what we're doing. That's what we're working towards. All right, so we wanna lay out the O-rings that we need. Okay, let's just start greasing them up. So I always call this crystal lube. We're not, because crystal lube is just what I used to always use. So crystal lube is what I'm calling it. Now, when you're lubricating stuff, there is a difference in how you lubricate something depending on what the O-ring's job is. So if it's a dynamic O-ring, or rather, let's say a static. If it's a static O-ring like this one, meaning I'm gonna put this O-ring on here, and then it's gonna go in here, and it's not gonna move until I take it apart again. That is a static O-ring. That's an O-ring that doesn't move. Does not need a whole lot of lubrication. So just a thin film of lubrication, basically just to keep the O-ring nice and to keep it and to make it easier to insert into wherever it's going. But if it's a dynamic O-ring, meaning it moves, so like O-rings in your venturi lever, in the adjustment knob, in the mid-pressure swivel of your regulator, those are dynamic O-rings, because this thing is swiveling all over the place. That needs a little more lubrication. Some people would argue with me and they'd say that you don't lubricate a static O-ring and you barely lubricate dynamic O-rings. And that probably works out very well in freshwater situations, but I'm primarily diving in saltwater now. So I really like to have that extra little bit of lubrication. Not too much grease. You don't want it to be excessive, but you definitely want it to aid in movement. And with SPGs, especially the swivel on a gauge, that thing in saltwater really likes a lot of lubrication. I see a lot of people that end up with theirs leaking, and mine never leak when I apply a large amount of lube. It keeps it nice, especially for the next technician, makes it easier for them to take it apart. Now that I've got the O-rings figured out that I'm going to be using, we can get started. So this is going to be a dynamic O-ring in a big way here, what's on the swivel. So I'm adding a bit of grease, a bit of grease. Clean up my mess, that's probably excessive. Just trying to illustrate a point. Don't be afraid of it. A lot of people tell you that the grease will attract gunk and stuff, and it will. But you know, you don't put that much on there. You just want to make sure that it's properly greased. So if you look at that, that's not excessive. It's just a little greasy. One thing I really appreciate, like a brand like Scuba Pro, tries to simplify their servicing process as much as possible. The O-rings for the swivel end of a regulator hose, a low pressure hose, are the same on both ends. The swivel and the first stage side are the same O-ring, which is nice. It's one less O-ring to carry in your save and dive kit. Pretty cool, actually, if you ask me. We're almost there. This is the easy part. You don't want to see like globs of silicone grease everywhere. You know, take some pride in your work. Make everything clean, nice. I mean, it's your freaking life support equipment. I know that's a really tired thing for a dive professional to say. It's your life support equipment. I hate those people as much as you do, but like, it's right though. It is life support equipment. So I work on this, you know, just a little bit harder than I would on like my gaming PC or something like that. So, oop, ooh, that's satisfying. And then I'm gonna install my 2 tiny O-rings on my 2 screws, which are longer. Give them a little grease. It's probably the grease on my fingers is actually enough, because my fingers are greasy now. I'm actually gonna wipe my fingers off now that I'm done applying grease to all the O-rings. There is, I forget who he is. There's a dude out there that swears that Crystal Lube gives you diarrhea. So he wears gloves whenever he's servicing regulators. I don't know. I don't have diarrhea right now. Not yet, at least. You know what else causes diarrhea? Drinking a lot. Dive guides and instructors tend to do that. So, wow, that guy, I just put that dude on blast. I just called that dude an alcoholic for no reason. I'm sorry if you ever end up watching this video, whoever you are. I didn't mean that. Okay. Okay. Now we are cooking. That feels nice. Okay. Let's go ahead and add this bad boy back on. Oh yeah. Not too tight on these. We're going metal into Delrin. So I like to twist it just from like the shaft of the Allen key, because you can't over torque it that way. And then I grab the top and just give it a little snuggins. I mean, it does need to press that O-ring down to seal. But you really don't want to do too much more than snug it. All right, that's on there. Good. Nice. I always, just to be in the habit of it, I always do like go across like a just to kind of make sure that I'm torquing everything evenly, although I already torqued that bolt down. I should practice what I preach. All right, mostly on. Mostly on. So yeah, can you service your gear at home? Yeah, you can. It's not rocket science, but if you're not particularly mechanically inclined, I would say skip it. Save money elsewhere and have someone do it for you. Maybe you got a buddy that's particularly inclined. He could do it for you, and then you could do something for him. No, not like that. Do his taxes or something. It's my torque wrench. All right, let's give it a little test. I still got to put the buttons in, but. Okay, so we're getting a good seal there. That's when the DSV is closed, so it's just exiting out of these holes on the bottom. All right. I don't think I can hear any leaks, so now I open it up. So if it's working, I should hear it exiting here and intaking over here. It's the most, honestly, probably the most important part of a rebreather is the DSV or BOV, because it makes it rebreathe. But that's it. We have this to do, but that's it. Come on. As soon as I get in front of a cameraman, I'm telling you, I can't do nothing. Oh well. Who cares? Oh yeah. Okay. Got about halfway in there, hand tight. The springs were fine, by the way. They just needed a quick ultrasonic bath. Oh yeah. There we go. That's how you do it. Ultrasonic is a great investment with the price they're at right now. Like these things, get off of me. Ultrasonics are, I used to think they were really freaking expensive. My dad used to sell industrial tools, and I remember we needed a new one for the shop. So I asked my dad, and I was like, can you give us a quote on an ultrasonic washer? And he said, sure. And he quoted me like $2,000. And that is not, dive shops don't have $2,000 for anything other than like compressors and boat parts or fixing their trucks or whatever. Oh yeah, we're good to go. So that's it. But anyway, ultrasonic ended up being something in the neighborhood of like $150 when we bought it. And the one I have in my kitchen, well, in my kitchen cupboard that I use was $15. And it does it. It cleans. It might take a little bit longer than an expensive one, but it does clean. So here we are. Nice. We got our finished clean DSV. I'll put it together with the rest of the rebreather, do my positive negative checks, just like normal. Just like normal. That's it. Let me know if you have any questions about anything that we talked about. That'd be fun. Thank you so much for watching. I'd also like to say thank you to my patrons who pay me money to do stuff like this. That has got to be the coolest thing on the planet. They pay me money to make videos about this stuff. So if you would like to be one of those extremely cool people, the coolest people on earth, then you could go to Patreon and get access to some exclusive stuff. You could get my eternal gratitude, and you could get your name at the end of every video. If you don't want to do that, I don't care. I still love you. Thanks for watching. Yeah, that's it. So I guess I'll see you in the water.